You'd probably sound sexier if you were shagging models and throwing TV sets out the window. But it's hard work that makes things happen. Let's talk about that, making the record. You produced the record, you worked with Alex the Kid, you mentioned him, you talked about Dan Reynolds. First I want to talk about, because I'm a big believer in timing and lighting, right? And I read a funny story about a fateful cab ride from a singer in another band, and that kind of helped get you guys in the world that you just described. Talk about that story, one of you guys.
So basically, Dan and Imagine Dragons were in Virginia. They were doing a show for WROX, that station that was playing us a bunch. And Dan, I think, had to go to see a doctor about he had some cold or I don't know. But he was being driven around by one of the guys at the station, and Dan was just talking to him about music, and because he's a very social he's a great guy. He loves talking to people. And he asked the guy what he was listening to, and the guy was driving around and said he was listening to this band called Ambassadors, which we were called at the time. And he showed him not Litos, but he showed him an acoustic version of Unconsolable. And Dan flipped out, and he told me later that the first person he showed it to was his wife, Asia, who's also in a kick-ass band called Nico Vega. And the two of them were like, oh my God, this is really cool. And then they showed it to Alex, and then that was when we got an email from Alex's manager, Mark Jordan, we had a couple phone conferences with Alex and Dan, but it was mainly Alex who I was in touch with. We didn't even really know that it was Dan who discovered us until much later on. We all thought that Alex had just heard it somehow. And I met with Alex when I was in London. My dad lives out there now, and Alex is from there. So over Christmas break, he and I met for drinks. He actually bailed on me. We were supposed to meet the day that I quit.
Let the record show. You heard it here first, folks.
Oh, man. There had been like some scheduling mishaps. So I had just gotten off of like a red eye. I was so jet lagged. I was out of my mind, crazy. I'm like, I haven't showered. I'm like sitting in this really fancy restaurant in Soho in
about
London.
40 phone calls at the time, and I was asleep.
Yeah, and I'm like flipped out because like I don't have an international phone, so I'm like trying to get on their Wi-Fi and Skype Seth. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Where am I?
Not only did I wake up and look at my phone to about 20 phone calls from Sam, Saul from the other band, but also had Sam's girlfriend and like everybody else. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
I call those 10-alarm fucking fires. Everybody's going to pieces,
Oh,
Happens.
God, it was terrible. But then we actually met a week later, and it was great. And he and I that was really when I knew that this was going to be the right thing for us to do, because I sat there face to face with him and we talked music, and it was like we were two minds in the same person, in the same body. It was immediately I was like, this guy gets what we're trying to do. He gets it. He's cool. I know that he can hang with everybody. I know that, he is successful and has been successful and knows he's a forward-thinking guy. And this is who I want on our team, From there. And then we went in January to just try being in the studio with him for 2 weeks. And it's like tales all this time. We get there just thinking it's going to be super casual, like everyone feeling it out. And Alex is like, let's hit the ground running. Let's try to do this whole thing right now. He's like, it's like, all right, okay, so I guess this is it. We're doing
this.
And we did 2 new songs with him. We did Love Songs, Drug Songs, which became the title track on the EP, and then Stranger, which Dan and I actually co-wrote. I had the verse and something of a pre-chorus together. The chorus was sort of like I was tinkering away with a few things, and Dan just came in and one day and sort of helped push me in the right direction. And so those 2 songs came into fruition over those 2 weeks. And then there was about a month to 2 months of, negotiations with the contract, as there always are. And then immediately we were on the fucking road